All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our next episode of our Indian Creek Alumni Series. Today, we have joining me, Tim McNally. Tim, how you doing?
Good.
Good. And I know officially, your diploma says Paw Paw High School graduate, but I thought still that you would be a really good interview, and you spent your last year playing athletics at Indian Creek. So I wanted to have you come talk to us and start with there. So is that how you kind of feel too?
Yeah. Yeah, I had a great time at Indian Creek.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why I want to talk to you is I think you can really give a lot of insight on change and what change is like the last couple of years. We just talked about you playing athletics at Indian Creek your last year, and even though Papa was still a school at that point, and what was that like going from your first 3 years of playing at Papa to now going into your senior year and being a being an Indian Creek basketball player and baseball player?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people will see it kind of like my high school journey as unfortunate, which in some ways it kind of was, but also I was pretty lucky because I did a lot of stuff that other athletes didn't get to do, like playing for Papa my freshman year and then my sophomore year starting to play with Earlville Leland and then meeting those guys and then my senior year starting to play with Indian Creek.
Mhm.
So I mean, I've had the chance to make a lot more friends and meet a lot more people, and I mean, I got to win a lot more games than I probably would have if we stayed at Papa. But I got to experience a lot of fun stuff at Indian Creek, like getting to play in a lot of championship games and that. And then I mean, I guess it didn't stop when college. I mean, I then committed to McMurray College, which then just now closed down. But I finally went through the decision making process again, and I chose to go to Monmouth. So my number one question with them was, "Are you closing down pretty soon or not?"
Yeah, and I want to talk a little bit about that because like you mentioned, high school it's obviously a tough transition to going into your senior year. I always gave you a lot of credit going into that last year because being a senior playing 1 year is a lot different than your brother Brennan, who came in as a sophomore, and some of the other guys coming in as sophomores, where they know they've got a little bit more time to get acclimated to the new school, and now they're going to Indian Creek. And how did that how did that how did your mindset play where going from maybe who somebody at Paw Paw probably would have been the leading scorer and scoring a ton of points to now, having a lot of, having somebody like Cooper Larson with you, Connor Todd with you, all those sophomores, that we knew were building up and having to still be a huge part of that team, but maybe not the same role that you had thought you were going to be going into your senior year.
Yeah, I mean, I was very fortunate with Indian Creek how welcoming everybody was. I mean, I never felt really out of place, but it was definitely different because with Papa, I never really had a second where I wasn't on the court, and then I came to Indian Creek, and it was a much bigger team and a lot more like I guess like like team orientated and I mean it was fun winning games and playing with those guys who I mean I like the role that I got to play. I got to focus on a little more of in my skill set, and yeah, it was it was
And
different but it was good.
yeah, and I've told you this before. I think I gave you a ton of credit, and I thought it was probably harder on you than most just because of those reasons and being the senior. And I think that's one of the reasons why you were, named the Spirit and Sportsmanship winner from that season, just because of the way not only you said, Indian Creek was very welcoming to you, but you were very welcoming to us, and I think it worked out really well, really well. So now we fast forward to, you have to make that college decision, and that is one of the biggest decisions in anybody's life is where you're going to go to college for the next 4 years. And you find a great opportunity in McMurray where you're going to get to play baseball. You've got it all mapped out. And like you mentioned, not only does your season get canceled this year, you find out it's not going to be a school anymore. Tell me what your thinking was at that point.
Yeah. um So when I got to Mac, I was really excited because it had like the small town feel and everything that I was looking for in a college. So I really thought I made the right decision there. And then like with coronavirus starting, and I just started to find my role as a varsity starting pitcher on the team. I got a couple starts under my belt and I was feeling comfortable. And then the seasons get canceled, and then we're sitting at home getting emails about how we're unsure if the school's going to stay open. And I mean, it was bittersweet, definitely. And I mean, I met all those new friends, but I guess I'm just gonna have to do what I've done a couple times and go on a new team and make new friends. And I don't know. Hopefully, it'll be a good transition. I think Monmouth is a good fit for me, and I like to coach there. And they just won their conference a couple years ago, so hopefully we can build off of that.
Excellent. So what advice do you give to, a high school kid who is going through maybe the same thing, and or it doesn't even have to be a high school kid. This could be for anybody, to be able to deal with changes. What have you done the last couple of years to be able to take that and take what you've learned so far about so many things changing for you in the last couple of years, and not letting it get you down, not letting it affect the way you play or your attitude? How were you able to do that?
Probably the number one thing I'd say is just like keep an open mind wherever you go, and like, of course, it's not going to be the same as where you were before. So don't try to make something like be the same as it was, because it's not going to be. So I mean, at the beginning, just kind of go with the flow and find your spot, and then whatever your spot ends up being, just do your best at that, and kind of
Mhm.
just put your 100% into the role that you're given, and then stuff usually works out pretty good.
I think that's great advice, and I hope our high school kids are listening to that too, because while you hope everything is nice and smooth, I think we're all finding out with even this COVID-19 situation that you don't know, and you can't take
Yeah.
things for granted. So I think that's really important. I want to ask you as well about, you have a sibling that is currently still playing. You have another one who's going to be playing as well here. So we'll start with Brennan, because Brennan's only a couple years younger than you, and I know I have a brother that's 1 year younger than me, and I know growing up things got super competitive. How
Yeah.
competitive is it between you and Brennan?
It's very competitive. I mean, I'm going to use the excuse that I've been out of basketball for a year or whatever, but he's been wanting to play a lot of one-on-one, and for the first time in my life, it's finally starting to go back and forth.
Okay.
But I mean, we just had a game on Father's Day, and we're on opposite teams, and then I usually have Jacob, and he gets Dad, and
Uh-huh.
it's pretty heated. I mean, we were diving on the floor a couple times. The game had to be stopped. I mean, we definitely have always been very competitive playing sports against each other. And I mean, I'll never tell him this to his face, but he's getting pretty good. I mean,
Yes.
he's all
Yes.
right.
But you're right. As a brother, you can't say that right to his
No,
face, right? But how
no.
about, along those same lines? How much, Brennan was a starter on the team this last year, was a huge contributor. How much did he, even though you weren't at home, you were at school, how much did he talk to you or ask for advice or different things like that as the season was going on this past year?
Yeah, I mean, as a brother, I'm very proud of what he's done so far. And there was phone calls that we've had after games and stuff talking about it. I mean, I know he doesn't really like to talk about it, but that Comanche game, when everybody knows
Sure.
what happened in that game, I hate to say it, but I mean, that's happened to me plenty of times, getting dunked on like that. I mean, so I mean, it was funny for him to crack a few jokes at me because I've actually experienced that too. But I mean, I just try to tell him it's just 2 points. But I mean, we've talked a lot over the last season, and I really hope he, um, puts it all on the court for his senior year, because I really think I took for granted what everybody says about how it's your last season and everything. So I mean, if I had to tell him one thing for this upcoming season too, it's that, I mean, give it all you got for this year, because especially with what we learned with COVID and everything, nothing's really guaranteed. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that's great advice, and I think that's being a good big brother right there, of being the sounding board for him when he needs it. So that says a lot about your character and what you're able to bring to the table. So you're starting at Monmouth in the fall. We're hoping for actual in school, right?
Yeah.
Actually being there, and it's going to be as a pitcher.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
excellent.
definitely different because I loved hitting in high school, but
Mhm.
a lot of the college coaches think that if I just focused on being a PO, then I can really, I guess, up my skill set quicker if I just focused on pitching. And I mean, just from being half of or a third of a college season, just focusing on baseball alone instead of three sports, I
Mm,
mean, it's a total difference, and
yeah.
I'm enjoying it.
And college, any college sport that you play takes up so much time and
Yeah,
commitment that it's, that one sport tends to be just as much sometimes as maybe two or three that
yeah,
you're used to in high school. Um, so I wish you the best of luck coming up this year. I know, I think, like I said, I have a lot of respect for how you've dealt with those changes. You have a lot of stories to tell that many people don't. That not only did your high school close, but your college closed. I mean, how many other people you think can say that?
not many.
Not many, but you've always taken it in stride very well, and I think you'll continue to have success because of that, and keep grinding and keep throwing strikes on the mound too, because it's the most important thing.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. So good luck. I'm sure we'll see you at games with Brennan still out on the team and stuff like that, and looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So that was Tim McNally in our next episode of our alumni series. It was great having him on. And stay tuned next week. We will have another alumni on. So thank you very much, everybody.